Well, afternoon, everybody. It's great to have you all here. I hope you're enjoying all the fellowship and all the lovely goodies it's been provided for you. When Jenny asked me to do this talk, I was taken aback. I'm happy sitting there where you are, enjoying the fellowship and the food, listening to stories of inspiring women that have gone before me. So let me share my walk with God. Life's a journey. My personal walk with God really didn't start till I was 19, a young adult. Upon attending a service at the Lyceum Theatre, the speaker, a Robert Dr. Schuller, American evangelist, who brought the Word of God alive to me. After hearing what he said, something clicked that night and I realised that God was real. He did love me. That's what was missing. And that's when I accepted him, just as I was, with all my weaknesses, my troubles, my abilities, and that he would forgive me for everything. I could be a part of his family. I had a purpose in life for being here, and I accepted him into my life as my father, my friend, and my saviour, trusting that he would always be with me. So let me fill you a bit in about my life's journey. Going back to my childhood, I was quite shy, insecure, and not a lot of confidence as a kid growing up. And always tried to ensure things were done right so we wouldn't get into trouble, although I tested my parents quite a bit. I grew up in Lithgow with 2 sisters and 2 brothers, played a lot of sport, managed to get through school. I got a job in the town's department store as a secretary. I wasn't good at being a secretary. And then I changed to the accounts department, and that is where I fitted in. Growing up, I didn't have a faith, as I know it today. Even though Mum took us to church, Dad was against church and everything it stood for. Sometimes it was hard there because there was conflict and controversy about church and other things within our home. He never knew what would happen in our home from day to day. But I did learn about God and Jesus through memory verses and Bible stories while I was at Sunday school, but never related it to my life or understood it. It was just the stuff we did every Sunday. Church was strict back then. You had to be good all the time. You got told on the way to church, if you weren't, watch out. It was very hard for us kids to behave all the time. And as a teenager, I went to youth group and I found this a safe place, a refuge, you might say, where I was accepted. It was a good outlet for me, especially from home. But still, I didn't comprehend the God stuff. But one thing that's always struck with me, and I remember one Sunday walking down the right-hand aisle of our big church that we attended, with my eyes to the ground, so I wouldn't be noticed. Then a gentleman stopped me, and he spoke to me softly and he said, "Always look up and see where you're going. God is walking with you." I never understood it back then, but after many years and reflecting on life, I can see now what this gentleman said to me back then has been with me all these years. God has always been there, walking with me. Meeting Tony was a very significant step forward in my life. As he was a Christian, he went to church. But this then started a tug of war within me. I did attend church with him, and he tried to make me understand who God was and that he did love me. How could God be in my life and love me, but let me grow up with all the struggles that we went through? Tony's family was very different from mine. They accepted me as their daughter, showed me a different way of family life, how life could be filled with love compassion, a mum and dad who did care and were interested in whatever you did. Everyone getting on together most of the time, doing family things together and many chats around the meal table, family picnics and playing card games. God was a major part of their family life. His dad was a lay preacher. As time went past, Tony was transferred to Sydney from Lithgow, and I was alone once again, struggling with life and work, trying to understand what was happening, not coping, grappling with life. Really didn't want to live anymore, not knowing what to do or where to go. After a time, I realised that I did want to live. I did want to survive and move on. Where next? Move to Sydney or stay where I am? A big decision to make. I would need to get a job, a place to live. So I moved to Sydney. Wow, I never moved before in my whole life. Very scared of what was going to happen, a country girl moving to the big city, knowing nobody except Tony, having to find a job to be able to survive. How do I cope? It was very hard. But Tony just kept telling me, trust in God, and he would guide me through life. But I still didn't quite understand this, what he was talking about. So much was happening, and I had no control over it. Little did I know that God had things in hand, despite my doubts and my fears. I got a job in the accounts department at the Central Methodist Mission in the city from my first interview when I got to Sydney. The mission was going through Union, moving into Union then, and where Central Methodist Mission, and I got involved with that. I experienced seeing how God worked in the lives of the people there, and God opened my eyes. It was during this time that when I attended the Robert Schuller event, and this is where my walk with God really started. After we got married, we moved to different places with Tony's work. We went to Narromine, Burke, and then Bega, and then we came to Canberra, where I didn't really want to come because of the weather. It was always cold. You wouldn't believe, but it snowed the month before we came, and that was in October. It snowed. Though we only thought we'd be here for a few years, that we'd move on. 30-something years later, we are now moving on. Through these great years, we've been blessed with 3 beautiful children, and as family life evolves, there has been lots of joy, laughter, tears, celebration, family holidays and blessings. Seeing the milestones of our children grow and become mature adults, rising above all that they have been faced with. Our family has grown with weddings, extended family, and 6 wonderful grandchildren. And I've had the opportunity to share my life with all of them. I love staying home with the kids as they grew up, being the homemaker, helping the kids with their homework, being a taxi driver, taking the kids to all their activities, calisthenics, gymnastics, Girls Brigade. I did go back to work when the children got older. I tried to be the best mum I could, but I wasn't always successful. I think the kids would testify to that. I did have lots of guidance and help along the way, and especially from Tony's mum. We raised our children within God's community, but I had to trust him and eventually let them make their own decisions about their own faith and accept it. We as a family attended the Uniting Church in the different towns. Being involved within a caring community was wonderful, where we were very welcomed, as they accepted us transient people, as often the town folks didn't, as we weren't born there. During these years, school teachers, bankies, police and ministers' families all supported each other through many milestones of life, sharing many meals and celebrations, often relying on each other during difficult times. We still have many friends today, and even though you don't see them very often, you're able to pick up from where you left off. Learning to live in different towns and environments is also a very challenging but rewarding experience. Understanding different cultures and getting involved in the different community activities. I joined playgroups with other mums and kids, found this a great support. I did do a TAFE course and studied sewing, focusing on children's clothes. Tony loved gardening and we all worked together. We landscaped the gardens in all our different homes that we've lived in. Going to Bible study played a significant part in my life as I learnt more about God and understanding how God could love us so much that he gave his life for me, even though I still didn't quite comprehend the whole story. Finding time to spend with God wasn't easy on a daily basis. I wasn't disciplined in this. As many of you know, raising children, looking after home, your hands are always busy with something or your mind was going around and around thinking, and other obstacles getting in the way. I thought this for many years. I would often stray, detouring from God, not feeling close to him, like sheep wandering off the path, eventually coming back. I had to learn the significance of making time, having the quiet time with him, pondering his world, unpacking his word, just spending that time with him. And this will get me through the days or even when whatever was happening. I now knew that if you didn't spend time with God, that life would take a dive and Satan would manoeuvre his way in and distract you. In my darkest days, when postnatal depression set in and life was a challenge to cope with, some days you just didn't. The challenges of raising a family, not having extended family around, moving from town to town, having to settle in and start afresh again, this was huge for me each time we moved, as I'm not good coping with change. But God was always there. I had to make time for him, listen for his voice, walk and talk with him, read his word, and accept things. I had to learn to stop trying to be in control and hand things over to God to deal with. But often I take it back again. But then I give it back and then we take it back again. Just happened over and over. Learning to leave everything in his hands was a very hard lesson for me to learn. Life takes many turns, lots of wonderful memories and lots of experiences, many ups and downs. You think life is going along smoothly and then something happens. Childhood challenges, kids getting hurt, visits to hospital, challenges with extended family, no money to pay the bills, the car's breaking down, just everyday life occurring. But he has always seen us through. Often not the way I thought, but. Prayer was something I struggled with for years. Always thought my prayers were never good enough. Didn't have the right words. Happy to pray in silence, but not out loud in a group. Thought people would judge me on what I'd said. He had to work in me over many years to overcome this. I had to accept and realise what I said in prayer was good enough for God. He didn't worry what I said, but he knew what was in my heart. Sometimes I still struggle a little bit with this. My faith has been rocked over several years. Tony's fight with pneumonia and pleurisy in our early years of marriage, and the passing of his dad. One of the major crises within our family was when Leanne got sick with cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma at the age of 15. Even though she'd been sick for several years beforehand, doctors didn't diagnose it until then. We didn't really know anything about cancer. What a turmoil in her life and in ours. Going through treatment, doctor's appointments, coping with side effects from the treatment, and Leanne being a teenager growing up. Life wasn't fair. But she was amazing through the ordeal, wanting to keep life as normal as possible. And Tony's family were great too, being there to help whenever we needed it, and on the other end of the phone. I was the one that didn't cope very well. Kept asking God why. Why? How could he allow our daughter to go through this agonising thing? As a parent, all you want to do is fix it, make it better. But I just couldn't. I was helpless in this situation. I had to lean heavily on God and others. We had many talks, prayed, cried. Lots of nights. The nights seemed to be the worst times. Finally realising that God had in the palm of his hands, I had to give her over to him and leave it with him. I had to trust. And this is very hard for me to accept. I just had to. And he did. With the support of all the doctors and the nurses, she recovered and went on to have a normal young adult life. But as life takes many turns for her, as she battled breast cancer for many years, lots more treatments, going into remission, but it would come back again. 3 more times, each time getting worse until her body gave out. She fought it so hard to overcome the battles, and she faced but still wanted to keep living life as normal as possible. We had many deep conversations about God, faith, heaven and hell, coming to terms with what was happening, especially as I got closer to facing death. She struggled with her own faith, but all I could do was to listen and remind her that God loved her and had a place for her in his kingdom. All she had to do was keep believing. But this was a testing time for me as well. I could never make it okay. For her, I just had to be there, do what mums do best. Keep her in prayer, listen, be on the end of the phone or at a bedside. But I still kept questioning God. I never felt he answered me with a straight answer. When my faith was lacking, fear set in, often feeling helpless, I had to trust. Know he was in control. So the Bible verse, "Be still and know that I am God," became very real to me. As I had to learn to be still, trust him, accept his comfort. Even though we knew what the outcome was going to be, her passing was still devastating, heart-wrenching, and hard on all of us. I understood this more one night during the first week, when one night, feeling very sad and lonely, I reached out to God, and I felt his overwhelming presence enfolding me. In his arms, he held me, he comforted me, and he spoke the words, "I am here with you," and I felt at peace then. We've been very much blessed by the support by the church. This church's caring community with prayers, encouragement, hugs, people offering help and meals. Throughout these many times, we're very grateful to everybody. There are days when I still feel very much overwhelmed, not enough time, trying to fit too much into my day, into my week, and doing things on my own. Being task-orientated, I like being organised, and I don't deal with conflict very well. Just want to resolve the problem, as I don't like to see people being hurt. At times, this has impacted my home, work, and life balance. It's often got me into deep water as well, focusing on the task at hand and leaving other things aside. As my faith and confidence have grown over many years, God has been working within me to transform me. He's still got a long way to go. From being the person I was to the person he wants me to be. I have learnt many lessons to stop, sit back, do a lot of praying, share the load, appreciate what others can offer, and seeing how they have enriched my life. I have been given roles in leadership in different areas within the workplace, Even though sometimes it's very stressful, it has strengthened me and challenged me, especially working in a very worldly environment. Being able to be open and honest about my faith has brought conflict and provided me opportunities to stand up for my Christian values and not cave in to what they've asked me to do. We've been part of the Tuggeranong Uniting church family community for many years, and it has enriched my life. Being supported by the wider family, sharing good times and bads, the opportunity to share meals together, and being a part of women's Bible studies, and also being involved in a small group. Our small group has been together for a very long time. Also, hearing the word spoken here has enabled me to embrace the Holy Spirit and let God work within. As you know, I've been involved in Girls Brigade. It has been a very significant part of my faith journey for many years, and the passion for it has grown over time. I became involved in Brigade when Leanne started, when we lived in Melbourne on the north side. But then we moved to the dark side, apparently. Everybody used to tell me. This is the dark side of town. And then Leanne and Melissa joined Girls Brigade here at the TUC, and I started helping out, and I just loved coming. My involvement really started more when I was asked to become a leader. I didn't think I could do this. Me be a leader? No way. I didn't have the confidence. After a lot of searching, encouragement and prayer, the voice in the back of my head kept telling me, you can do this. Step forward, step out of your comfort zone. I fought that for a while. I never thought I could step up to leadership. I was just an ordinary person with no amazing skills or attributes that shone out. I remember thinking, how could I lead these girls? But God had other ideas. I've learnt so much through Girls Brigade over the years. He's given me the strength when I was lacking confidence, abilities to face challenges, courage, encouraged me to be creative, gave me love to share with others, wisdom to plan, knowledge to impart, courage to step out of my comfort zone, and peace to know that he can use ordinary people like me to serve him in the ministry to achieve his mission where we are planted. He has put me in situations where I had to rely on him fully, as I couldn't have done it on my own. He is the master potter and I am the clay, and he is moulding me into the vessel he wants me to be. In Brigade, we've had many amazing nights, some very loud and boisterous, and some calm and quiet. Others didn't work out so well, but we still got through. I would often review our nights and think, how could I have done it better? Was I tired? Had I put enough time into the planning? But he was always present watching us. In taking everything to God in prayer, I've received a bountiful number of answers to prayer and blessings. So in Isaiah verse 40:31, but they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles, and they shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint, has also helped me along my walk. I just love Brigade. It provides a safe and loving environment for all the girls, really encourages them, allows them to be themselves, teaches them new skills, accepts the girls' uniqueness, their abilities. They're able to make new friends, but also challenges them to step out of their comfort zone as well. Also, I really love enjoying the times getting to know the girls, having our chats, finding out how their week's been, learning new things, playing games with them, and being creative. It's just such a blessing to see when they master a new skill or see what they can achieve. Seeing their faces light up when that light bulb moment happens and their confidence grow. When they receive their awards at presentation night, or their Queen's Award or their Pioneer Pin, and our sharing at supper times is really a time of, it's just really an important time. And seeing them enjoying the fun and the laughter, and especially the times of lots of our mums and our dad-daughter nights that we've had, it's been great. Seeing the leaders stepping forward and out of their comfort zone, and how they dedicate their lives to the girls as well. Being part of a worldwide family is just amazing. People with a passion to helping girls embrace life, and having Christian women for the girls to look up to and to be inspired by. I'm sure God had a path planned out for me and put me here. I am grateful that I've been able to give back to Girls Brigade, as Girls Brigade has given me so much along the way. The opportunity to share the lives of different leaders and many, many girls. Here, in the Valley, in Canberra, across Australia, and especially in all the different roles I've had in Girls Brigade. As we are now celebrating 35 years of Girls Brigade in Tuggeranong Uniting Church, it's enabled hundreds of girls to learn about God and His love for them. Through these years, some of them girls have come for a short period of time, and some have come for a longer period of time. As girls' lives have been transformed, and who are now enriching God's world, we give thanks and praise to God for all of them, the past, the present, and the future, and for the leadership throughout our history. Together we've had lots of fun, laughter, sleepovers, camps, tried new things, made friends, done lots of crazy things, shared in devotions, and created lasting memories with our Girls Brigade families and friends. And we give thanks to the Tuggeranong Uniting Church community for their support over the many years, and their encouragement to all the girls and the leaders. You just never know how much Girls Brigade can impact or touch the lives of girls and their community. Over the past 12 months, I have worked my own journey with breast cancer. It was hard to hear these words again in our family. Breast cancer, as it had already taken our daughter, but finding out we got it early and it was a good prognosis. With all the new knowledge and the treatment that is available, I knew it could be cured. But even with that knowledge, I still question God. Why me? Stopping and spending time in His presence, I heard Him say, "You are now walking in her shoes." Understanding more of what she went through, the treatment, I tried to keep positive. Did have some dark days. Even during them, I still felt I would recover and be healed, that I would come out stronger than before, enabling me to continue with my life's journey. I've also had the opportunity to be involved with Christ-centred inspiring women that God has put in my path along my journey, whom I have learnt, laughed, walked and cried with, women from both the wider church community and my Girls Brigade family. Well, where to from here? We're moving north to the warmer climate, the sunshine. I'm not sure what's in store, especially for me, or what lies ahead. A new home, a new town, challenges to face, leaving family and our church family, starting over once more. I know this will be heart-wrenching when the time comes, even though we know it's the right thing, and many things have all fallen into place, and it's all been in God's hands. And this is his doing, and prayers have been answered. God has been the light of my world. He has walked with me, picked me up, and carried me on many, many occasions. When I haven't been able to see the light for the darkness, Jesus' light has always shone through. It is when I put my trust in him that he brings the light to the day and all things come together. I know my future is full of hope, never being alone, as his Holy Spirit dwells within me, to have the confidence and the boldness to step forward, to serve a faithful God, as he gives me his peace as we walk forward together. Thank you.
I've been asked to do a little thank you to Liz, and I've actually written something down because I'm not good at ad-libbing, so here goes. Liz, over the years I've spent as a Girls Brigade leader, I've always considered it a huge privilege to get to spend time and be mentored by such an extraordinary and dedicated woman. A person who is full of faith and genuine care for all the leaders and girls who are part of our GB company. But after going through all the photos of the time Liz has spent with Girls Brigade, I realised that my experience with Liz is just the tip of the iceberg. I was absolutely blown away by all the amazing experiences she has shared with so many girls over the years. They were amazing, those photos. Liz is never a person to talk herself up. She works tirelessly, and the amazing effort she puts in and the huge impact she's had on the lives of so many young people sometimes slips under the radar. And that is because Liz does this role with so much selfless humility, never expecting praise or acclaim for it. But she does deserve a great deal of praise and acclaim. She has touched so many lives through her GB leadership. She has made young girls more confident, given them encouragement, pushed them to be the best that they can be, and given them a safe space where they can express themselves and grow in their faith. I'll miss Liz very much when she retires. I know she deserves a break after so many years of faithful service, but selfishly, I will miss seeing Liz every week. She's a wonderful friend, a huge asset to our congregation, and an inspirational person to know. Liz, I wish you every happiness in your new home in Queensland, and I know I speak for the whole congregation when I say that you are appreciated, loved, and a wonderful example of God's abundant love being expressed right here in front of us. Thank you so much. Liz?